Do you choose the red pill or the blue pill? Metaphorical pills, of course, but if Morpheus sat down in front of you and held out a hand, a blue pill in one, a red pill in another, which one would you take? Would you take the blue pill, go to sleep, wake up, everything just a dream, go back to what was? Is that what you really want? Do you want the status quo? Do you want what's considered normal, or do you want something different? Or do you take the red pill, see how far the rabbit hole goes? What happens next? You can always turn around and go back to your bed and go to sleep and wake up the next morning and try to forget everything happened, but you always know it happened. When I started this work, I was told they will bring everybody to me. I was told, we will bring everybody to you. I didn't know what that meant. At first, I thought it meant ETs and other spiritual beings, and it really did. They brought everybody to me. All kinds of beings, gods, goddesses, ETs, angels, interdimensionals, fae, everything, everybody, and even more. When I started doing spirit art, they started bringing people to me, and they really brought everybody from many countries, many walks of life. And those people brought even more beings to me by doing their spirit art and connecting with all these different beings, galactics and beings on Earth and angels, all these other people. Completely changed my reality. Waking up new every day. The red pill was the best thing I ever did, was take the red pill. They'd asked me, do you want to do this work? Do you want to write these books? If you write these books, it will change your life. It really did. It changed my life to meditate, to keep meditating, to do the work, to raise my vibration. At the time, I didn't know I was raising my vibration. I just knew I was doing the work. I was meditating. I was listening to my guides. If they told me to sit down 3 times a day, I sat down 3 times a day and meditated for a half hour each or longer. If they told me to sit down at a specific time, I sat down. When Lady Death came and started working with me on concepts of life and death and reincarnating souls, if she said, I need you at 10 a.m., I was up at 10 a.m. to do the work. If she said, I need you at 1 a.m., I was there at 1 a.m. to do the work. If she popped in and went, sit down right now, we have work to do, I sat down and I did the work. When ETs came, I gave them the respect to talk to them. When Garut came and floated above my bed in an astral form, and I realized a being from another world was visiting me astrally, I connected with him and asked him when I could meet him. And he said to get up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning, meditate, and we would talk. So that's what I did. I worked with him at 4:30 in the morning, because however time works where he's at, that's a time that translates well across our universe to where he lives, that he would be available to work with me. All these different experiences, all because I rose my vibration. I started to look at the world differently. I started to eat better. I started to say no to people, especially my partner at the time. I started to tell her, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not letting you control my life. I'm not letting you lie and manipulate me anymore. I'm not doing this. This is what I want. This is what I'm doing, and I'm doing it no matter what. And you're not going to stop me. She knew she wouldn't stop me from doing this work. She was empathic, and I know she knew that me doing this work was going to break what was there and have me go off on another journey. And she was intuitive enough to know that, because our journeys were not aligned because of the negative energy around that person. And then as I did this work, Spirit started bringing me more proof of what was going on in my relationship, more proof of what was happening intuitively that I had felt for years. Started bringing me more instances, started making me aware of all these things. My vibration started raising because I started questioning, I started saying no, I started not accepting the reality I was living in. It's not easy. I want to be very clear about that. This journey is not easy. It's not love and light like people say. People in the spiritual community, it's all love and light. It's all flowers and dancing. You have to clear trauma. You have to get out of your negative patterns. You have to break free of your chains. You have to get out of those negative relationships. And you will find things out you don't want to believe. Things you may already intuitively know, that proof will come. The means to leave will come as you raise your vibration. And the more you stick to this concept of raising your vibration, of breaking your chains, the more experience that comes, the more your chakras open, the more trauma you can clear and purge. That's one of the hardest parts, is clearing trauma. A lot of dark nights, a lot of crying, a lot of anger, a lot of fear. Moving through all those emotions, clearing it in a healthy way. Maybe as you raise your vibration and you're clearing, you figure out, hey, I'm a creative. Not a creative in the way we talked about earlier, about just imagining and seeing the truth of reality, but a true creative, somebody who writes a fictional story, creates a creative piece of art. And that's how you heal your trauma. Maybe you figure that out. You figure out what works for you creatively, and you heal those lower chakras. Get up into your heart space, get up in your throat space when you're speaking your truth, finally speaking your truth. For me, my throat chakra was always in trouble because I never spoke my truth. I just took reality as it was. And then I kept working on things. My third eye was open for a long time, my crown, and there's chakras above that. I won't go into those yet. Maybe not this course, maybe some other time. But there are other chakras that connect us to other things that we can open up. As you raise your vibration, you access those levels. Each chakra is a higher vibration. But you have to work through it. To work through the trauma, you have to start speaking your truth so that this chakra isn't closed off and energy can move freely through all of your being. It's not easy. You'll have to deal with a lot of trauma. You'll start to have past life memories and have to deal with past life traumas you didn't even know you had. I remember many times being killed for the work I do. I had to work through that trauma, through the trauma of somebody who I know this life, who turned me in one of my last lives, where I was shot in the head by a Spaniard for doing spiritual work down in the Mexico, southwest U.S. Mexico area. I was doing spiritual work, and because I was considered a heretic, I was shot in the head. I remember that. I remember the gun pointed here. I remember getting struck in the heart with an arrow. I remember being a slave to white people as a Native American. Slaves did not, we think of slavery and we think of African Americans. It was not limited only to them. It was all races. They enslaved everybody. It didn't matter what color you were. There was a lot of people in slavery, Native Americans especially in the U.S. There were a lot of indentured ways of life, and I was in one of them. Met my owner this lifetime. Had to clear that trauma. Had to clear the traumas of my childhood with my father. It's a longer story for another video, another day, but I had an abusive father, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And spiritually, my family, you could say, was abusive. We didn't have spirituality, and in a way that's abusive. It's not their fault, but we were kept from spirituality because we didn't know any better. My family didn't understand it, and they denied it, and anything outside of the norm was crazy. My mom would get very upset if you've heard of Magic cards, Magic the Gathering cards. My mom used to think we were casting spells. Pokemon. They came out with Pokemon cards when I was little. And I'll never forget, the churches went on a rampage saying Pokemon cards were evil. They cast spells. Caused problems in our house because I wasn't playing Pokemon, I was playing Magic the Gathering, but it had that word, magic. There was a lot of things from the past that come up that you have to work through to trust yourself, to heal yourself. A lot of the abuses and injustices you've had, but there's a key factor here that a lot of people forget. You have to go through raising your vibration. You have to choose the red pill and do the work, not just on healing the traumas others have done to you, not just giving them forgiveness. You have to heal the traumas you've done to other people. You have to forgive yourself. You have to understand the darkness within you, the deepest, darkest things you've done. You have to work through those. You have to heal those, forgive those. You can't just ignore them. I've had people come to me and ask to have their memories. Are there ways to block memories? Are there ways to remove memories? Many, many times. That's not the solution. The solution is to heal through your trauma, to face your demons. What have you done? How have you hurt people? How can you change that? How can you forgive yourself, not just those who hurt you too? This is a journey of raising your vibration, understanding yourself, the good and the bad, choosing a moral path, doing better, always doing better. Understanding the consciousness that others come to you with and how they're operating, and that it's not their fault that they operate that way. Many of them have been programmed. Many of them, that's all they've known. A racist, a very controversial topic, a racist generally isn't racist. That's just what they know. That's how they were brought up. That's what they were told, what they were taught. But if you put them in a room, there's a guy named Daryl Davis, a jazz musician, African-American jazz musician, was able to convert all kinds of KKK members because he sat down and talked to them and realized they weren't racist. It was their environment, how they grew up, what they were taught, what they were programmed with. And he was able to deprogram them and turn them away from racism. People who hurt you are operating at lower levels of consciousness, at lower vibrations. So as you do this work, you're going to experience that. You're going to see it more. Your friends, your family, you may not be awake to it now. You're going to experience more. You're going to see it. You're going to become aware of it. It is not an easy thing. Some people don't like to deal with it. But if you do the work, if you raise your vibration, if you heal yourself, if you go on the journey, magical things happen. The world comes alive. Consciousness comes alive. You access higher levels of consciousness. You free yourself. You break your chains. And then they come. Angels, gods, goddesses, gargoyles, faeries, unicorns, dragons, extraterrestrials, Sasquatch. You can experience them all. You can experience them all. They all exist on different levels, different frequencies, different dimensions, different parts of reality. But when you raise your vibration to be able to access all of it, to be able to access the tools of your third eye, your crown, the tools above your crown chakra, chakras most people don't know about. When you can access those tools, when you can speak your truth and create your reality, you can manifest more. When you can do all these things, you're taking the red pill. And that's the question, is do you want to take the red pill? Do you want to go on this journey to raise your vibration? Because if you do understand, you're completely changing your world. You're not just completely changing it, you're going to shatter it. You're going to break it wide open. It's going to be completely new, completely different. And that means change. That means conflict. That means struggle. That means strife. Because it's not all love and light. Once you start to understand that, not only do you have to heal your traumas, you have to heal those that you've done to others and forgive yourself. And you have to continue the habits of raising your vibration and continue the habits of keeping yourself clear, healing your chakras and all the trauma wounds that are stored in there. And then overcoming fears and anxiety and worries about all of these beings outside of yourself so that they can come to you and help you and that you can experience them. So after hearing all that and understanding, it's a choice, blue pill, red pill. Are you willing to go through the suffering? Are you willing to have dark nights of the soul? Are you willing to wake up to the truth of the matrix? Are you willing to struggle through your trauma and heal it? Are you willing to do the work? Or are you looking for a quick fix? because there is no quick fix. It's work. It takes consistency. Practice patience and persistence, as my Arcturian friend would say. Practice patience, persistence. Or do you want the easy solution? The easy solution is to take that blue pill and ignore it all. That's the easy solution. Far easier than anything I've been through. Or you can raise your vibration, wake up, take that red pill, and really change your world. I don't regret ever taking that red pill. I took it long before I knew I took it when I was a kid. Woke up steadily, went through different levels of awakening. That's the other thing. You don't have one awakening. You don't just raise your vibration and awake. That's another thing people get confused in the spiritual community. It's not one awakening. It's several. It's your whole life. It continues. Poof, 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 poof. You go through many dark nights of the soul. You go through many traumatic healings. Because even when you think you've healed everything, you find something stuck deep down in there. Some low density vibration that you need to heal that comes up. But as you do the work, it gets better, it gets easier, you manifest easier, you're flowing better, the universe is providing, you're being your authentic self, and you're happier. You're in a happier, more loving state. And that's the key. If you practice patience, practice, and persistence, practice the 3 Ps, and do the work, you will raise your vibration and you will shatter your chains and completely change your worldview. So if you want to continue, we'll get into the meat of raising your vibration. I know I've talked a lot about the philosophy, a lot about reality, a lot about red pill, blue pill, but there's a reason for that, to make sure you really understand what you're doing. You're going to change your world. You're going to have hard days. You're going to have good days. The idea is to minimize the hard days. There was a period where my hard days were every other day. Then it was every other week. Then once a month. Now they're not so often. Mercury retrograde. That's when all this stuff that you're not aware of, you start finding more of it. You have to clear it out. They still come and we're still healing. We're all learning. We're all healing. The idea is that less of it has to be done. So I welcome you to join me. I'm going to talk a lot about all the techniques for raising your vibration. Most of these coming up are in the book, and many of them are not. And I'll be explaining them actually in more depth than what they are in the book, with all the background I have now since we originally wrote the book with my guides. Thank you again for watching. My deepest gratitudes, and good luck raising your vibration and unleashing your spirit.